Good morning. Always starting trouble. I don't know what to say. Whom am I introducing whom to? It's a bit. I tried escaping from this position, but I'm caught. So today morning was interesting. Uh, some of these kids wanted to go to the beach, and we went there, and it was interesting. Thank you. Very interesting. Quite. I mean, it was a bit like going for the exhibition yesterday. Why? What did we see there? We saw abandoned houses, broken compound walls, houses which have been completely wiped out. There's no evidence there was a house there. It looks like a huge row of large private mansions and have all been either destroyed or uprooted or whatever due to the post. This is not even tsunami, this is post tsunami, all the floods and all that. So, broken walls, some houses in different states of abandonment, some completely abandoned, huge mansions, all right on the beach front. You know, it's funny to walk through all that, and I mean, of course, being a nature person, seeing the trees which have grown inside the compound and the birds which have come back. I was e-birding and looking at all the bird species which are found here, and it's a very surreal. You know, it's a strange start. Almost felt like that's the walk we should be doing, sir. Talking here, like, or live exhibit kind of thing. So today is like yesterday. I think the focus was a lot of farming and farm related stuff. Today will be forests and things connected to that. Interesting thing is that, as usual, all homegrown stuff. Like, so we have Arunachala. Nice suggestion from them that I introduce all three at one lot so that I don't keep coming here and doing this to myself. So, so we have, so the first three speakers are, maybe I'll do four even. Like we have Arunachala here, we have Madhavan, we have Sham, and then we have Kumar, all from the stables of Forestway Marudam. Okay, yeah. Now, this man has been an environmentalist from the age maybe 10, 8, 9, and there are things that I've learned from him. I mean, when this whole debate of going vegan was there, he was the one who pointed out, isn't it more important to drop palm oil? Isn't that the bigger question? He was probably 11 or 12 at the time, like, you know. That really sent me into a tizzy. Like, so it's been an interesting journey being with these people and seeing how they flower and yeah, and also as somebody who's concerned about the environment, carrying the burden of the state of the environment has been one huge thing. And then how to not bring this burden to young people has been another struggle. And as I grow older and the age gap between me and the students is getting wider, how to not bring this heaviness, but at the same time, how to bring in reality has been a struggle for me. And I still remember, I think when he was 12 years old, his father said, "My son already carries the burden of the world very heavily. Please don't make it worse for him." Like, you know. And that was already I was feeling burden. I didn't know what to do with that. But yes, also seeing these people struggle a bit with how to be young and hopeful and look forward to this world which is falling apart in many ways. You know. But on the other hand, because of this feeling, their lives have meant something. They're going and trying to do what they can. So, in terms of what is it? You're living at one particular time in the planet's history. It means living with the reality of the times. It also means living with the challenges, opportunities, whatever. And Nirmal, who just walked out, said, "I see it as something that we are born to do at this time. We are born at this time, and this is what we need to do." I mean, it's not. I don't feel it so burdensome as an opportunity. This is the reality. So what can I do born at this time? Like, you know. So there are some who seem to really seize this, and all these guys' lives embody that. When Shyam now has been in the forestry for 10, 11 years, left IT website, this, that, and all, and anybody comes and sees him in the farm, nobody will say, "Oh, there's an engineer background at the past," like, you know, more like somebody who walked off the gypsy colony. Like, today I said, "Hide behind this podium, don't come and stand here in shorts." Like, you know. Kumar, I'll say separately. I have more to say on Kumar. Okay, stunning entry, right.
Basically, I'm Aruna. I don't know if you said my name. And for the past year and a half or so, I've been working right here in the middle of this mountain or hilly scape. So this is a place called Vepanapalli in Krishnagiri district. That in the left corner, you can see one edge of Bangalore. So Bangalore is also quite big compared to the hills and stuff that we are. All this gray color, lighter gray color, these are all buildings, right? So this is Bangalore here. Krishnagiri will be here, outside. So here we take the bus from Krishnagiri and come to Vepanapalli, which is here. And then our site here is 70 acres, and we work here. So we are a team called Elephants by the Lake is the name of our project, and we work right there, and we are just restoring that land. That's mainly what we do. So basically, I think in this presentation, I wanted to kind of after being here for 1.5 years or so, I wanted to see if I could kind of bring the aspects of the landscape that I learned there, of going around in different forests, in different areas, even the farmlands, and just kind of see if I can explain what I learned from the landscape. So that's, yeah. Again, this is the close-up of where we work, and these are the hills. Sometimes I go seed collection there. We've raised a nursery and we're starting to do planting. So I do seed collection in part of these hills. So yeah, again, one thing that is quite striking is that so much of the landscape, as you can see, many times I do look at Google Maps as my own thing, and I look and I see that it's crazy how much of the landscape is just this white color, which is farms and buildings, and how much is green, like so little bit of it is green. So looking at Google Maps is a bit depressing, but it's also a way to understand the landscape, and it does help. And even in these green, I zoom in and I see which pockets are darker, and those usually are better forests than other areas. So yeah, it is depressing to see something like this, but as you can see, the only place where there are forests is because there are hills, and I guess that's something that's there across Tamil Nadu or across the country in some way, like Western Ghats. You only have forests because you have hills. So very grateful that these hills are there to have some forest left and to get an idea of what the forests were like. Again, this is like Krishnagiri. You can see like down, you have all these buildings, all this traffic and stuff going on, and in the background you have these hills that are amazing, like geologically amazing, and they also have amazing forests in them. So close to a city, you get these hills. And I've also said hidden because in a way I feel like it's out of the public's eye. People don't really go there anymore. There's no interactions. They just exist in the background. So then from the site, as I started working, I started exploring. So this is right next to where we work. This is the hill. So I was going around and I was seeing the forest to get an idea of what the ecology is like. So we are going to do planting on our site also. I wanted to understand what the ecology is like around there. So it was in a way quite degraded. Like I went around, okay, I can't say degraded, I didn't have an idea. So I went around and I saw, and a lot of it was 7 or 8 species. These are the species: Chloroxylon sweetenia, Albiza amara, Diosporus montana. I don't know if you guys know these species, but these are quite hardy species. So I could see that a lot of the hills comprise of these major species and lemongrass. So all the barren patches in between were lemongrass.
No, Ziziphus and Gruvia?
Gruvia very little, Ziziphus very little also, not so much. So then as I started exploring, I think one thing that really was very exciting and which was very crazy to see, that inside these hills, it seemed like hidden ecology. Like suddenly I'll find one tree of a species which wasn't usually there. So this tree is Terminalia elliptica, paniculata. So this, you suddenly chance upon a tree like this, and then you get so excited that, wow, you haven't seen this earlier in this region, and like, how come it's there? How come you find this tree in the middle of these 7, 8 species? One tree is from a more like complicated forest system, if you can say. So we do go seed collecting to older forests, like in Javad Malai, Pakkamalai, and there is like a very complicated forest system and a lot of species. So suddenly it's like interesting that, okay, I found this one species here, like that, and some species I've only seen one in the whole forest that I've gone around there. Like Suregada, I've only seen one tree of Suregada there. So these are some of the examples of the trees that you find in between here and there. So I think then it's just like, wow, it's crazy. How come there are only so few of these trees that comprise of a good forest? These are some of the trees that are rarer, and we find these little pockets. That Sterculia colorata has very nice flowers. I don't know if you guys have seen them. Atlantia racemosa. There are 2 Atlantias, which are wild limes. So Atlantia racemosa is a rarer one that is usually in more, again, compact, better forests. So that one also we found, Buchanania. So it's been really like enjoyable to go around and find this and kind of understand the landscape better. So yeah, what remains, again, going in the landscape and seeing degraded forest, going through forests which had very few species, to finally finding some pockets of at least more intact forest was, I think, a very exciting thing. This is a place called Maharaja Kadai. It used to be a fort, or I guess it's still fort ruins. Here you can see a little part of a structure, but this is mostly much more intact. So here you get more species and many trees, and I think just going here to this landscape is such a crazy feeling, to be in this landscape and to feel like, wow, this is what the landscape is actually like, or what the landscape can be. And I think what I want to show in the next few photos is just how much, like, compared to a farmland or compared to other things, there's such a feeling of life that comes from a place that's just left alone. Even this, like, there was a fort there, so I'm sure there was some kind of extraction, but at an earlier time. But even in the place that I stay, like just around there, even though those hills I know have been totally cut out, and this like a new, is the next generation of a forest coming up, but the kind of vibrancy that comes from that, the kind of vibrancy that comes from living close to a forest, from visiting a forest and seeing the different elements that are there, the trees, the grasses, the birds, the animals, insects, and it's just, again, the feeling of this island comes, like you go up there and in the sides you can see farmlands and again forest, and it's just like, wow, this is such a crazy island that's so rich, but obviously it just feels so lucky to get to see them. This is Ficus microcarpa, which has beautiful long roots. So it was really nice to see this specific tree up there growing on, again, the fort walls, growing fully down. This is the view behind the fort. So yeah, actually last time we went there were elephants down there in that valley. So again, the feeling of just knowing that animals, and big, like an elephant, just the thought of seeing that an elephant goes through this landscape, right? And then what happens to the other landscape, and that's quite crazy. So, and again, it's just so magical in a way. Chameleon that came to our site. This is the bear that we got on camera trap. Unfortunately, we didn't get its face. We got its back and we saw its ears. So yeah, in jamun season, we have a few jamun trees. and it's crazy the amount of bass cat that was there all around the place. And it's a nice feeling to know that in this little forest, in this little pocket, so many bears come. We find bear tracks just outside the gate, which is also very scary, but such a nice presence and gives this feeling of aliveness. This is Litsea. The species may be wrong, but so again, this I went up a hill, and this Litsea was just in the middle of a degrade. Like they had built a new temple. Part of development there is, I guess, is building massive temples in the middle of areas. So this was next to a new temple that built on top of a mountain. They built a road just for the temple, but yeah. So there was this Litsea, which Litsea usually are found in a wetter climate, so they like a wetter forest. So this kind of shows that there used to be a wetter forest there. And in some places there are Litseas, like in Maharajakarrai, the forest is still intact to hold Litseas, and I think they will stay there. This is a view from above the site. So right here is the site, walking up. And yeah, as I shared earlier, I think one reason could be, like, as I walked up the site to this high point, we found many different trees, even if they were sparse. So a whole variety of species. One reason is also because it's further for the people to come and cut them. And also such big trees, nowhere else down there have we seen. So that's also crazy, and just getting to sit in these places and see some insects. This is Terminalia paniculata. So going up there and seeing a full Terminalia paniculata with its seed pods, bright red, and it's so nice to find it up there. Star tortoise. So yeah, I think these are the different elements that make up the landscape, like the big trees, the little animals that go around. These are creepers. That's Piliyar Kannu in Tamil. That's wild grape, Arasulochia. So all these little elements that bring together this landscape into such a beautiful thing. There we can see that animal has rubbed on the tree and gone. So again, it's just that in this little region, if I go around, there's such a feeling of life there, which is so beautiful. This grass, I don't know the name of the species, but again, like seeing this made me very happy, because I only see this in this ecosystem, like in Pakkamalai, which is another rocky place. So nowhere on the plains, nowhere in other forests. So it's very nice to find it is like characteristic of that landscape. Hildegardia. So yeah, Hildegardia it is, I guess, critically endangered, and its distribution is restricted to Pakkamalai Hills close to Jinji and another spot in Andhra. But I did find them in the hills there, so that was really nice to find Hildegardia there. I got really excited seeing that. This Tickles Blue is a resident that lives just outside our house. So nice that in the little pocket of a little greener area, the Tickles Blue comes, right? It doesn't come to the fields around, it comes to the pocket right next to where we stay. This is Rishi Valley ground gecko. So these are more like rock-liking ground lizards. So it was so pretty. It's just like this size, but amazingly pretty. We got a wildlife photographer who took an amazing photo, obviously. The mottled wood owl that we saw around. Again, this is a hill, like as I climbed up just from where we work, there is a view of the hills below. Some of the trees, Cainanthus ramniflorus, Terminalia elliptica. Again, this Terminalia, we didn't find down, so it was so exciting to go up and see the Terminalia up there. Yeah, this is again just a beautiful sight that you find, and these kind of sites you don't find anywhere. And this is Ficus dalhousii, Gyrocarpus asiaticus, Alfonsia lutea. Yeah, and again, it's so beautiful how in such geology all these trees are so rich and so thriving. There's a rock python swimming. There are so many rock pythons. One came into our room, went up the fan around. This is the elephants. I don't know if you can make out. They're there. They come in the mango season sometimes. Again, this is just a beautiful picture of the landscape, that in rocks, in between rocks, Ficus arnosiana is growing. This is Shoria roxburgii, which is some people know as a certain kind of, what do you call it, frankincense or sambrani. So this was a big tree. Actually, it was coppice. I don't know if they had cut it or what happened, but the actual base was cut, and this is what came from the sides. So then I'll just share a little bit of what we do. So now we have raised 15,000 plants around there, and we're just trying to plant the 70 acres, which is a privately owned land. The people who own the land wanted a forest, so we're doing that. Some seeds collected. This is Diospyros ebenum. So this is really nice. We collected it quite close to the site from one tree, which you don't find many ebony trees around there. But there was one tree, and we collected the seeds, and they all germinated. So it's really beautiful to, get that tree that is not so seen anymore and that's dying, and you find it from there, and right from there it's germinating and it'll go back. So that's a beautiful process. Nursery. Neelama, cleaning seeds. Cochleospermum religiosum, which has really beautiful yellow flowers. Yellow silk cotton. These are seedlings. That ficus I showed you earlier in the picture, those 3 trees, those seeds are those saplings. Just pretty seeds, so I added the photo. Hildegardia poplifolia. So this is planting. Mainly the work done is by women, and it's nice that they really enjoy the work and they get a chance to have a nice space doing work. And then, so that's really nice that people from the village do enjoy doing the work and do enjoy being together. So that's something which is also really nice to see. Our dog Sisu around the pits. Yeah, so I guess one feeling is that doing such a work or doing restoration, it does feel crazy that, even if I go to Pakkamalai, which is one of the really good forests, you do find a lot of this wood that's cut for combs, and then you say, wow, you're going to one of the best forests and it's actually being cut. That day they had cut it for combs, they had taken a beehive down, they hunt monkeys there. So it's from all sides of where you go to the forest that you really like, you see they're being encroached. Recently Aruna was sharing of how in Sitlingi they were planning to do some mining. They changed it luckily, but it's just in these forests, in the middle of these places, they're still in threat. And then what sense does it make to do a restoration? It's kind of meaningless, but at least you get a place to work and you get a place to at least have your fun. So, yep, that's it.